Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Can, and together we can game. In the last episode of That Dragon Cancer, we read the cards that Joel's mother saved. In this episode, we're going to make our way through the door. Let's see what we have to hear. I don't really know what to expect here, so... Oh god, no. I'm sorry guys, it's not good. It's not exactly the title I want to see. We're definitely in a waiting room or so. Huh? Oh, um, this was not the toy I expected to see. Let's play with it.
The ducks like to go on a morning run. Quack, 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 quack.
And let's, I know we're waiting for something. Probably a doctor, if I was to guess.
Farmer Bill rides the cows to the store for milk.
What? Farmer Bill, you should use the cows for milk.
Farmer Bill enjoys a mud bath with the pigs.
Farmer Bill's quite the eccentric. Let's see what the horses have to say.
The horse can type 70 words a minute.
It's a pretty impressive horse. Guess we'll go back to the ducks.
When the ducks work together, they can fly Farmer Bill to town.
I don't think they can fly Farmer Bill to town, but okay.
Farmer Bill doesn't like it when the ducks get the mail. They always bring back a lot of bills.
Okay, fair enough. It's kind of unsettling. Like, is this all we're doing? Until the doctor comes in? Well, honestly, I have this feeling of a waiting room down pretty much. I don't know if you've ever had the unfortunate to have to wait in a waiting room. It's the worst feeling in the world. You don't know what's gonna happen. You're just waiting for the doctor. And then when you see the doctor, you get so excited to hopefully hear good news. But it's not always good. Like it says, I'm sorry guys, it's not good.
The horse to take the truck to town.
Okay, Farmer Bill.
Sure? I'm pretty sure I saw Farmer Bill doing that.
I think we're just gonna be hearing random animal trivia with Farmer Bill here.
Bill can control space and time.
Okay, Farmer Bill. Huh?
I'm sorry, guys. It's not good.
Oh no. That kind of scared me. Oh god, we're gonna hear as they did in the news. Why don't we start with the doctor? It makes the most sense.
Parents always ask how big. Wrong question. They should ask where it is. Location is everything. Slow death or quick, symptoms and losses all come down to where. Well, it's in the frontal cortex. And it's quite small at this point, but unfortunately the size isn't terribly important.
Oh god.
Any recurrence means the chemotherapy has failed. This is a tragedy.
So we're learning with Joel's parents that the treatment did not work. My Uncle Tommy, he passed away on February 11th, 2015, and at the date of recording this is February 15th, 2016. It's very difficult for me to record this, and it was very difficult for me to deal with that, and it's still hard for me to deal with the fact that I don't know what to do. I mean, my grandmother It was her son and her second child she lost. And for her, it was incredibly hard because what they don't tell you is one of the hardest things to do when you lose someone is go through that first year of things they were always there for and are no longer there for. And it doesn't always get easy. And this is a very hard day. And I'm probably gonna cry again, so let's see what the nurse...
With an ATRT, as soon as you have a recurrence of any kind, it is fatal. It's only a matter of time before it spreads to several locations.
God.
We've already thrown all the chemotherapy we have at it. We can't continue to give him chemotherapy that we know it's resistant to. So there just aren't any treatment options that are curative.
Guess we'll see what the mother has to think.
I guess I'm going to cry after all because they love us. And they love Joel, and
we're very good at managing the pain and masking symptoms at the end of life.
A sad thing. Where did Joel go? I want to see what the father thinks. Oh, miracles are
how
scary.
long are we talking about?
A few weeks to maybe 4 months.
Oh no. Hearing all that doesn't bring exactly happiness. I want to see if they say other things if I re-examine them.
I cannot cry. They shouldn't feel like they have to
Have
comfort
you
me.
come back Monday and we can talk about palliative treatment. Palliative?
Palliative is medicine you give at the end of life to
Okay.
improve the quality of life. Its goal is to treat the symptoms, but it can't cure Joel.
We'll do a lumbar puncture and talk to our radiation oncologist to decide whether we could do some radiation or just chemotherapy.
What would the radiation do?
Well, the radiation could probably kill the tumor we see now, which would prevent it from causing any symptoms, but it would not keep more tumors from developing, because we know if it's spread here, it would spread other places too.
Like,
So, the radiation would buy us some time.
No, nothing will really buy us any time at this point. It just can make the time you have left more comfortable.
the
So
water
we'll
is
schedule you to
very
come back in
symbolic.
Monday, and we'll
of
have
how
some
it
options for you to
feels.
consider.
Feels like you're
I'm
drowning,
so sorry.
but your head is just above water. And I mean, what that nurse was thinking is so sad. Like, she doesn't want to cry, but she does love Joel. The mother thought it, and she does. They do love Joel. And even then, you see that they were hoping that they could buy some time, but sadly, part of life, and I've heard this, is understanding that there are going to be hard situations you'll never be prepared for. And my grandmother told me that losing a child is the hardest thing you're ever going to have to go through, because in a way you brought that life to the world. And she's one of the strongest people I know. I want to see the doctor's thoughts.
I hate this part of the job. The impotent confession of failure to parents that are still trying desperately to hold on to hope for a breakthrough. They're not wrong. We'll find something. We'll get better. But not in time to help Joel. I wish they wouldn't thank us for bad news.
This is horrible.
Joel's had a recurrence of his tumor. Well, where is it? How big is it?
It doesn't matter. This is so
But unfortunately, the size isn't terribly
visually interesting,
Any
actually.
recurrence means the chemotherapy is failed. This is a tragedy. With an ATRT, as soon as you have a recurrence of any kind, it is fatal. It is only a matter of time.
I guess we're gonna
before
try to
several
escape.
locations.
We're just kind of hearing the conversation that we're having.
We can't continue to do it.
Watching how difficult it is to get through this water is probably...
How long are we talking about?
A few weeks to maybe 4 months. We've given you a lot to think about already today.
There's not even a door. Oh my god. This is honestly very terrifying. And I feel really bad. His parents just found out Joel is going to die. And I'm drowning. Visually speaking, I don't know what to do. Oh, there's Joel again. The lighthouse. We saw the lighthouses, those paintings, and I guess it's fitting there was the storm. Adrift. Yeah, there's the lighthouse from the paintings. Actually, it's kind of fitting. This looks so good visually. This game is so aesthetically pleasing to me. Get out of there. Are we the bird? I think we are. Interesting way to show this. Let's see.
I have so many things stirring around in my spirit that I have to write to settle myself and find God's wisdom in the midst of chaos. I'm scared I won't be strong enough to face the things we might have to face in the coming weeks and months. But then I remember how much grace God gave us to walk out everything we've already faced. I've never felt completely overwhelmed, and I've never felt alone. So no matter what comes next, and I truly cannot even begin to guess how this will go, I know we will be carried. I want to shout out, look what God is about to do. Watch how he delivers Joel. And at the same time, I want to roll up in a silent ball and wait it out with fear and trembling, so aware of all my doubt, but yet convinced that my doubt is insignificant compared to God's faithfulness.
Amy. Personally, I'm not religious. And honestly, losing as many people as I did contributes a major factor into that.
Joel, lay down. Okay. Should we do a song?
Sure.
Okay, big boys, how you come in here and we'll sing the littles a lullaby.
I'm tired.
I know, it's bedtime. Ugh, okay. Elijah, lay down.
Beg, did you even check in his mouth?
Who's Joel? No.
Joel has chicken stuffed in his cheeks from dinner.
Get it out, that is so disgusting.
Been in there for the last 2 hours.
Oh,
Okay,
gosh,
I'm
yeah.
fine.
But look, there
Joel,
goes the bed.
ouch!
Did he just bite you?
I think he just put too much in his mouth so he can't swallow.
He was just saving it for later, babe. Like he needed a midnight snack.
They're a good couple. And I feel so bad for them.
Oh my god.
Visually speaking, we went through that storm.
Okay.
Bigger version.
Then we saw Joel and his mother holding him in a boat.
Do you guys remember how he couldn't even eat any solids and because he couldn't swallow? Do you remember that from the surgery? How it hurt his ability to swallow, so we had to give him bottles?
Yeah, I remember one time we had pizza, so he chewed it all up and then spat it out everywhere.
It's so bad.
It was. I remember.
I feel so bad for them.
So gross, but he just wanted to try things.
But her not sure what God's plan is, I think realistically, when I lost my mother to cancer, it became very difficult for me to believe in a God. And if you don't know, I'm agnostic. And that is something I think really does relate to the fact of what's happened to me. And I'm not going to go too much into it, but a lot of people challenge their faith going through this kind of experience, having someone who has cancer. And my uncle said that some of the worst things that cancer does is having to watch what his family goes through. They're suffering knowing that they're going to lose him. Because he initially beat cancer, but the chemo was no longer effective, and he went through months of pain, and it ended up not being successful. So that really is difficult. But I want to see what this says.
We've been through so much already. This is a new degree of tragedy, but it's not so much different from the struggle we've already been living. We pressed into God. We pressed into faith. We fought until we found peace. We stood in peace when our flesh wanted to strive more. We stood in peace when it started to feel like laziness or foolishness or both. We waited for God to direct us specifically in prayer because all the directions we had initiated had not panned out. We prayed for no nausea because that's what we felt in our spirits we were supposed to pray, even though we'd prayed it countless times before while Joel continued to vomit. We saw one small miracle and then another. We waited to pray specific things until we were given specific direction, and we saw bigger miracles. And yet, if you asked either of us if we were doing enough, trying hard enough, we would say no.
Jesus. I mean, it's very clear that they're a religious couple to me, and the fact that they don't feel like they did enough is sad because there's not anything really they can do, and they know that, and it doesn't help to hear that. It's just it makes it
How
worse.
long will we be in California?
I don't actually know. That's kind of why we're packing up everything, is because if the trial works really well, then maybe we'll stay in California for a really long time. Like, as long as it keeps helping Joel, then we want to stay and do the best we can for him and stay there where he's getting help. But if the medicine starts to not work, as soon as it's not helping him, I promise we'll come back home.
Oh, wow.
Going to Disneyland.
Yeah, of course. What do you think, Caleb? You okay with leaving for so long?
I'm kind of excited, but I'm kind of not. I mean, I think it'll be fun, but I just don't like missing school.
Oh, yeah?
You're the only 8-year-old to ever. That's Caleb.
I hate to miss school, huh? But, like, why?
Well, I just hate having all that homework that I have to do.
Oh,
you-
you hate catching up from missing school.
Your teachers are going to send me homework, and we'll just try to do a little bit
Yeah, I
of
can
it
actually
every day.
relate to that.
So it won't be that bad, but they'll still
My
be fun.
grandfather died. And this is really kind of says something to where I went to school. Still had to make up my homework for missing a week. I get back and they give me my homework, and I guess they're not wrong for giving me homework. I just didn't expect to have to do it. I just went through a very life-changing experience, but it's a school system, and so it seems like they're going to California for hopes of another cure. I want to see what this says.
As this long day draws to a close, I am tired, but not sleepy. My face is puffy from crying. I have a dry throat and dry hands, a slight headache, and a desire to write down absolutely everything. I want to describe the feeling of being entirely empty and entirely resolute. I want to explore how I can be deeply sad and incredibly hopeful at the same time. I want to talk about holding Joel's hand. walking down the hall wanting to soak in the moment, to memorize the feeling of having his hand and mine, to let it matter. And then hating that my thoughts swing to, because what if I can't hold his hand one day? And hating that thought, wishing I could just appreciate each second of Joel without that appreciation spilling into the pre-mourning I refuse to do because I believe he will live. But instead of fighting the brief thoughts of mourning, choosing to fight instead that lie that says that those thoughts betray some doubt, some mistrust of God, when I know that those thoughts make me human. That God knows I am human. He doesn't make Joel's victory dependent on me never feeling unsure.
God, that was very... I feel so bad for her.
I won't let myself hold anything back this time. I would rather feel disappointed and let God heal my heart than to feel like I did not push myself as far as I possibly could in faith for my son.
Her questioning of, you know, I love how she said she's not going to pre-mourn because she believes, and I feel so bad for her. That's something no one should ever have to go through.
I remember the day I was diagnosed. I remember the hallucinations from the high fever of 5-year-old's nightmares. I remember my mother silently weeping in the doctor's office. I remember friends and family gathered around my hospital bed in prayer. I remember the 2-hour ambulance ride to St. Jude where they could better care for me. I remember the 2.5 years of weekly chemo treatments, the numerous lumbar punctures and bone marrow aspirates. I remember Doctors Bell, Dahl, and Kalwinski, nurses Jean, Judy, and Dale, Miss Chris in social work, Darlene in travel, all part of the team that cared for me. I am a walking memorial to their successes. I remember the other patients I'd see each time I went to the hospital for chemo. I remember when some stopped coming. I knew what that meant. I remember the years of summer camp for children with cancer, children like me. I remember their laughter and the midnight talks of fears and joys, normal kid stuff. Some less so. I remember when some stopped coming. I knew what that meant. But I remember them. I am, and other survivors are, memorials to those who lost their fights.
It was very powerful there from Julianne. I mean, she's right, too. She is a memorial to others who...
Oh, her expectation is so maddening sometimes. Do you know what she wrote on the eve of Joel's first surgery? The one back in January when we first found the tumor? I seriously feel like a kid on Christmas Eve. I'm pleading for God to spare his life, and I'm tempted to despair because self-inspection leads me to conclude I shouldn't expect much of anything. And yet my wife is expecting a surprise party from the Lord, replete with presents and supernatural miracles.
Feel bad for her.
I envy her.
Trying to understand what we're seeing here. This grass, what's on this arcade cabinet here. Is there anything?